Hi, I'm Chantal McNaught. I'm a former legal practitioner and a technologist, as some people have called me. I have a master's degree in law, and at the moment I'm also working on a dissertation on how lawyers can navigate the tension between law as a business and law as a profession, particularly in the context of incorporated legal practices. And this video is about how automation tools can be readily accessed by law practices and those low-hanging fruit. So what I mean by that, what we mean by automation, is anything that you have a if scenario. So if this, then that is the usual terminology there. But many practitioners would know this as part of the general legal practice. That is, so you've got just say when you have a client that has a purchase of more than $750,000, and that might incur a specific rule to do with the conveyance, then that would bring in that paragraph. To put that in a process for automation, it would be if the purchase is more than $750,000, then this specific paragraph, otherwise no paragraph. So that's an example of just how easy it is to process map some automation, but the tools are generally readily available in today's current technology that's accessed by law practices. So in my role at Leap Legal Software, I do speak with a lot of law professionals. And there are many tools, including what's in the Microsoft Office suite, that can help with that automation. One of those things, if you are particularly interested in lots of automation to relieve yourself of cognitive load, as well as being the human conduit to information, is you can use tools such as Power Automate or Power Apps, which is a particular tool that's available in the Microsoft Business Suite. And what that does, for example, in the business context is, if you were to receive an email for an invoice for a service provider, such as your electricity bill or your phone bill, what tends to happen is that it hits the inbox, and then the person, usually the practice owner or principal, would then move that email invoice to their accounts payable box for work on later to pay that invoice. Something like Power Automate can automatically detect that there's an email that has an invoice attached or invoice in the body, and move that email on your behalf. It can also do things like take the amount and put it in a spreadsheet, so you can do a cross-referencing to make sure they all get paid at the end of the month. Something like that means it takes the human element of a process, because at the end of the day, what's important isn't that the email gets moved to that mailbox, but that invoice gets paid. And the easier it is for that business owner or whoever's paying that invoice to identify there is an outstanding invoice and then to pay it, the better. So assessing a process first, and then looking at how it can be translated into an if scenario, is foremost the first step, and often the hardest, because the tools that are available are quite easy to use. There are guides, there are short videos that can make that possible, and the technology is more often than not already accessible by the law practice. Another example is with the firm precedents or templates. So this is something that has been used throughout the course of intergenerational legal practice. What has changed, though, is the automation tools that are available in order to automate those large swathes of those documents. And if you recall the if statement, and in particular the example of the $750,000, that can be easily done through a lot of the tools that are available without having to touch a word of code. What is important though is establishing what is a good template, and that can sometimes be the most challenging part of looking at what can be automated easily in a legal practice. This can often look like evaluating what are the types of documents that would be required for a particular matter, especially if it's going to be large and ongoing. It would be worth and valuable to evaluate what those templates would be and ensure that they are well automated at the beginning of that matter. So then by the end, the client does receive the service that they want. Because at the end of the day, the value of a legal service delivery is the delivery of the outcome that the client is looking at, not necessarily how the law practice gets there. So it really is a valuable step to look at what that automation would be for that particular matter or project. Automate that as much as possible, remembering those if statements, and then at the end, you're going to have a satisfied client that's going to return for more services.